Welcome to SVGTV News for Thursday, August 4th, 2016. I'm Sharon Garraway with the details. The Association of Caribbean Media Workers, ACM, has issued a statement today indicating that they have noted with concern continuing efforts by some countries of the Caribbean to address legitimate issues associated with the harmful online content through legislation, which in their view tramples on the importance of principles associated with freedom of expression and freedom of the press. The association further indicated that their support for the document concerns of their international partners, including the International Press Association IPI, Reporters Without Borders RSF, and the Center for Law and Democracy CLD, which are addressed by the sister organizations in fair detail of offending sections of SVG's cybercrime bill. The Association of Caribbean Media Workers in their press release stated, quote, "Like us, these organizations and experts have conceded that enlightened official intervention to address the worst abuses is required so that people are not harmed by the expression of others through online content. Indeed, the Code of Conduct for Caribbean Journalists introduced by our organization specifically references the minimizing of harm when it comes to mass media content. We believe that the principle holds for all communicators regardless of the platform." End of quote. The association is of the view, therefore, that the criminalization of expression brings with it clear and present dangers to an environment in which they value free press expression and is respected and observed. This is a point that has been embraced by governments in Antigua and Barbuda, Grenada, Jamaica, and Trinidad and Tobago, where campaigns against criminal defamation have led to better understanding of the inherent dangers of invoking criminal laws under such circumstances. The association further stated that while we have noted Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves' strong views on the matter, they have also recognized the lack of harmony with principles embraced by other Caribbean nations on the matter. The association also expressed concern on what they say appears to be the sweeping measures to address the issue of cyberbullying and anonymous reference to Section 7 of the bill to the requirement of lawful excuse or justification in acquiring computer data not meant for the person accessing such content. End of quote. They said a similar measure on cybercrime bullying proposed by Trinidad and Tobago legislation was eventually acknowledged to be potentially harmful to the practice of journalism and is being reconsidered by the current administration. They further stated that matter pertaining to an undue haste in addressing issues such as defamation, for example, but said that these offenses are already covered under existing legislation. They said that while there is greater need for higher levels of accountability and care for communicators, such local media, they can be punitive and harmful rather than good. They also agreed that in democratic societies, the activities of public officials must be open to public scrutiny. They said that criminal defamation laws intimidate individuals from exposing wrongdoing by public officials, and such laws are therefore incompatible with freedom of expression. They concluded by urging the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to seriously reconsider its position on this particular matter, while also paying critical attention to other areas of grave concern as mentioned. And meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, in condemning rumors that he is being pressured by the international agencies on the Cybercrime Bill 2016, said that he made the announcement today on a local radio program as he spoke on the position of the proponent of the Parliament, which was initially scheduled to be held today. Dr. Gonsalves, who also acts as chairperson of the Select Committee responsible for the bill, said Parliament was postponed to simply allow drafters time to further tidy up certain aspects of the bill. He further noted that there are well, 3, but now 4 international agencies have written to him about the bill. He responded to the letter which was sent from Reporters Without Borders and outlined their concerns about essentially 2 issues: Article 16 of the Cybercrime Bill, and the aspect of criminal libel.
Well, Clause 16, even before they wrote, had been amended. And the clause which they're talking about in terms of criminal libel. Well, criminal libel has been on the books since before Cato came to office. It's a useful provision to have. And as I outlined in the letter to Reporters Without Borders, is that you have civil defamation. Somebody injure your reputation with whether by words or by writing, and you take them to court,
right,
and sue them for damages, for money damages,
right.
But there are persons, men and women of straw, who will simply go out and maliciously defame you. And then nothing can happen to them.
The Prime Minister further stated that he is by no means pressured to take certain decisions with regards to the bill.
When I hear this nonsense about international organizations give pressure and so on, it's anybody could read my letter, which I answered the Reporters Without Borders. I sound like a man under pressure. This bill is really to address a number of things relating to quote-unquote cyberspace, yes, and the use what we have. You just can't say and do anything in that medium,
right,
without regulation, dealing with people's reputations, to child pornography.
Right.
In fact, the Reporters Without Borders, you notice that they themselves said that they see the need for legislation like this thing, like what we have put forward.
Dr. Gonsalves mentioned that it is natural for persons to have queries about the bill, stating that even members of the committee have queries. Meanwhile, the New Democratic Party is planning a protest for Thursday, August 11th, while Parliament will be in session.
The laws of this country, the Constitution of this country, permit peaceful and orderly and lawful protests.
That's
and
true.
Even when people do protests which are not lawful, the police nevertheless provide the security, and so long as the protest doesn't get out of hand to create disorder and so on,
right,
the police accommodate it. Of course, there are provisions inside of the Public Order Act, which govern demonstrations, which the police can impose conditions, and they would impose, and sometimes even when those conditions are broken, they and the DPP may decide the circumstances are not so egregious, the breaches,
right,
to amount to any reason why anybody should be prosecuted.
Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said CARICOM leaders have held discussion on the matter of terrorism. The Prime Minister comments came today as he spoke on a local radio program, where he said that he was privy to reports about Trinidadians joining ISIS in Syria. Meantime, according to Trinidad Express, the Turkish newspaper Daily Sabah has reported that Turkey will shortly deport 9 nationals of the Twin Island Republic. Dr. Gonsalves noted that there was a unified bond throughout the region on matters of security.
More than just sharing information, we also share analysis.
okay,
So that and that's at the CARICOM wide level, and through the OECS, the RSS, Regional Security System, we do that. The other countries, like for instance, the United States, Holland, and Britain, they do not have representation in their national parliaments at home,
okay,
from the territories outside, but they're responsible for their security and foreign affairs.
very well.
So that we do coordination.
This country's new Commissioner of Police, Renald Hathaway, that says that he is more than ready for the task of facing him, and he takes and assumes the position very seriously within the national security system of SVG. Thanking the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for granting him the opportunity to serve his country at the highest level of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, Hathaway noted that he intends to do nothing but his utmost best in carrying out his duties.
It's an opportunity that I have always been looking forward to. So having been granted this opportunity, I will seize it with both hands and do my utmost best to ensure that the integrity of the organization remain intact, law and order is dispensed with all fairness and objectivity. And I give everyone the assurance that I will do everything in my powers that is legally, I would say, to ensure that our standard that we deliver to everyone across the length and breadth of St. Vincent and the Grenadines will be something that persons will speak about very positively, and I hope that we can see results in the not too distant future.
Hathaway commended the work of former head of police Michael Charles for his stalwart contribution to national security, especially through his public relations efforts. As he introduced the new Deputy Commissioner of Police, former Assistant Director of Public Prosecutions Colin John, Hathaway outlined that they are both willing and ready to combine their efforts to promote proper policing in efforts of creating a better SVG police force.
Outgoing Commissioner Michael Charles, all the best in his retirement. We have worked well over the years, and he would have made a sterling contribution towards building the organization and trying to ensure that St. Vincent remain the nation that it is. I will also take this opportunity to introduce to the nation our present Deputy Commissioner of Police, Mr. Colin John. He was a member of the organization in his earlier years, and he would have, like myself, went off to study. Upon his return, he would have branched off into a related field in the DPP's office, and it is very important to have him back with us where we can address issues concerning our presentation and preservation of evidence.
Deputy Commissioner John further added that he will remain fully supportive on Commissioner Hathaway and the overall police effort as they work towards a common goal.
Of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we know that the perception of crime sometimes is even more cogent or even more significant than the reality. So we have to make sure that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is not only safe, but that it appears to be safe and that citizens feel comfortable going about their businesses and they feel comfortable within their homes, and that the police officers, we have very good police officers, that they consolidate on their strengths and they work on whatever areas of weakness that they may have, so that we as citizens and police officers can have a better place to live and enjoy the gem of the Antilles, which is St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
K. Bacchus-Batiste, lawyer for Josette Bibi Bowens, says her client's name on a no-fly list was just a mistake and it has been rectified. Speaking with SVG-TV News, Bacchus-Batiste said her client was leaving the state on Tuesday, August 2nd, when she was stopped at the E.T. Joshua Airport, but was eventually able to leave after a few calls were made. Bacchus-Batiste is, however, questioning as to why Bibi was on a no-fly list.
Someone called on her behalf and said they requested my presence at immigration because they had stopped her. She was trying to leave, saying that her name was on a no-fly list. I was quite busy at the time, but before I could leave my office to go there, she herself called back and said that they said it was a mistake, that her name was there from earlier. I think that is when she was charged with the offense, and that it was just not removed. So I think it all worked out in the end.
The lawyer further questioned as to why there was a list in the country. Misunderstanding, but you're glad that your client is able to...
Of course I am. I mean, I don't even know why her name was on the list at the first, in the first place, and it would be interesting to know who did that, because I don't think the magistrate did it. So it would be very interesting to know who put her name on that list and for what reason. Persons might be wondering if their names are on a list because they have been charged or something. I do not know who put her name on a NOOF list. In fact, it's interesting to know that St. Vincent has that no-fly list. And as I said, I would wonder what qualifies someone or disqualifies someone from being able to leave St. Vincent.
Teacher Bibi Bowen was charged in April of 2015 for 2 counts of obscene language, which were later dropped. SVG-TV News contacted the prosecutor at the Director of Public Prosecution's office on the matter, and he indicated that he was unaware of the matter and would further investigate. Issues of safety at sea has been raised following the concern of ocean rescue of 3 Vincentian men, all within 1 week of the month of July. Those rescued are 18-year-old Junior DeRoche of Union Island, 28-year-old Radley Dixon of Ryland Hill, and 25-year-old MacGyver Alec of Clare Valley. SVG-TV's Barvin Oliver has more in this report.
Vincentian men are thankful to be alive as different search and rescue operations took place in the month of July to find the men who were lost at sea. A release from the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Coast Guard states that on Monday, July 18, 2016, a report was lodged at the Union Island Police Station that Junior DeRoche and Bradley Dixon had left St. Vincent on Saturday, July 16th, about 3 p.m. for Union Island in a 16-feet fishing vessel and remained unaccounted for. Reports from the Coast Guard indicate that the men were unsuccessful in restarting the engine after it had developed problems off Petit Canoan. Search and rescue operations were in effect following the missing reports, and DeRoche and Dixon were rescued by MV Galleys, an oil tanker which was en route to the United States, some 133 nautical miles northwest of St. Vincent. The other man, MacGyver Alec of Clare Valley, along with 1 other, left for Martinique on a go-fast on June 13th. However, the 2 men never returned from the trip, which was expected to take 1 day, and a missing report was filed with the SVG Coast Guard on June 18th. Alec was rescued by the Trinidad trader, which was en route to Kingston, Jamaica, and towed the vessel to the Jamaican Coast Guard base. Alec informed the Jamaica Coast Guard that there had been another occupant on board, who he only knew as Bernard, died and his body had been thrown overboard. Alec, who was adrift at sea for 45 days, was taken to the Kingston Public Hospital for medical treatment for dehydration. Given this recent surge of lost at sea incidents, Commander Kane of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Coast Guard reminds marine operators of the following guidelines. Check the local weather forecast before going out to sea. Wear a personal flotation device and ensure that there is a life jacket for everyone on board. Take along at least 1 gallon of water per person and ensure dry food for a few days. Take along a compass, signaling devices such as flares, mirrors, watertight torchlight, and spare batteries, and a radar deflector, which will assist in detection by other vessels fitted with radar. Slow down in rough water or when making sharp turns. Paint your boat in bright colors to aid with visibility. Don't drink alcoholic beverages or go fishing or boating, as operating a boat under the influence is illegal and potentially dangerous to everyone. A marine VHF DSC radio is preferred to a cell phone, as many cell phones may not obtain signal at sea, while the Coast Guard monitors certain VHF channels constantly. File a float plan before leaving for sea and share it with someone. Let someone know where you're going, how long you intend to stay, and when you're expected back. Have the boat checked before heading out by either the Coast Guard, Fisheries Department, Fishermen's Cooperative, fishermen, or other experienced boaters for a vessel safety check, as they might see things which you overlooked. For SVG Television Evening News, I am Barvin Oliver.
And let's hope persons adhere to these safety procedures at sea. Earlier yesterday, Phil Jeffers of the Youth Affairs Department, in collaboration with potential partners from the Movement of Youth, visited the Coast Guard's summer program in an effort to find ways to drive youth development in the country. During his visit, Jeffers spoke with SVG-TV and expressed delight with the program's success so far.
And we want to say thank you very much to the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Coast Guard for allowing us to interact with the youth here today. We were able to bring one of our potential partners movement of youth to the Coast Guard base to interact with the youth in the summer program, and also a dairy soccer camp, because we look forward to this relationship being developed into a pragmatic relationship because of the potential it has to help St. Vincent and the Grenadines transform the youth landscape, and also to assist us in making sure that we program for youth on a whole.
Petty Officer Kenneth Francis welcomed the group's visit to the Coast Guard summer program.
Summer program has been going on for 23 years, and I think every year something new is happening. And to have you here today is just saying that, you know, the Coast Guard is really doing something. Yes. Now, with the youths we have there, this is the second phase, and those kids are full of talent, and they are excited about it, because in one of the sessions they were given to either write a song, a poem, or a drama, and you could be amazed at what they came up with. So I'm saying partnership like these can help these youths today to even further their education, you know, help them to think more and have them more involved in doing, you know, what they were doing before. Because I know that once they have the opportunity to, you know, go to the States and to further their studies, that they would do good.
Meanwhile, board member of the Movement for Youth, Malika Pettigrew, advised all children that the sky was the limit, as the world was theirs.
The point is that there's always got to be a plan B, that there has to be an adaptability to go to another alternative go, and that has to come from your heart and your desire. So my son was a professional dancer. When that career ended for him, he went back to school, became a financial analyst. He's on Wall Street now. And as a parent, it was important for us to support them in what their heart's desires were. And like you said, though, to really encourage them to not give up, to push when it gets hard, and to do the very best that they can. No slacking, no just half doing anything. Go for it. And then when it becomes obvious that your injuries or whatever it is that says that maybe this is not the goal, okay, what's next? There's always something next, something else that you can do.
And in final local news, Latoya Williams created history as the first Vincentian to teach English in Taiwan when she was given a one-year contract by the Republic of China on Taiwan's Ministry of Education. During the Taiwanese scholarship presentation ceremony held earlier this week, Ambassador His Excellency Bushan Ge noted that each year the FET program recruits over 300 teachers to teach English in primary schools and secondary schools throughout rural Taiwan. Ambassador Ge congratulated Williams on her success and said that he expects more Vincentian educators to take up the advantage of such opportunities from now on.
Teachers selected over the years are exclusively from 6 English-speaking countries: United States, Canada, Great Britain, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. So Latoya's inclusion in this program is historic. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of St. Vincent and Grenadines approached my embassy one day with the initiative to send teachers to teach English in Taiwan. I'm very happy that in Taipei, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Labor all have given very positive responses to my embassy's recommendation. Latoya will be teaching at Dahu Junior High School at Miaoli County, a place famous for tourism and all kinds of fruits, especially strawberries. So I expect Latoya to eat a lot of strawberries in Taiwan. Latoya is surely a pathfinder. I wish her every success in her new stint.